Kimi K2 Thinking. It's the latest model by Moonshot AI. And it's been making the news because it just crashes a bunch of benchmarks, especially around reasoning. It seems to be kind of blowing the state of the art away. I wanted to check how does this translate into real world usage. So I wanted to build an application because not only they claim to be very good at reasoning, they claim to be very good at tool calling. I just wanted to give my take on what makes this model so interesting. First of all, like the benchmarks, this thing is good at agentic reasoning, agentic search, coding, math, humanities last exam, PhD level math, agentic coding, all of that. So all of the benchmarks here is like better or very close to the state-of-the-art models by OpenAI and Anthropic, which honestly is quite impressive. But something that is very interesting to me is also the way it was trained, right? So they do quantized-aware training. They do native infer quantization for that, right? So what this means is that while this model is being trained, it's being trained in the context of being quantized, right? So the gradients are kept in the model, so you can do propagation and actually learn as you test the model during training, but it does it in a way that when you do the inference in a quantized environment, it should perform better, right? So quantization-aware training is a very cool thing. They are not the first people to do it, but I'm very excited to see such a performance coming from lab that not only makes these weights open, but also it seems to be a fairly small model to achieve such prediction capabilities. So I chose to use OpenRouter to build this. So I use OpenRouter and OpenCode to just build a demo together. I have to say that I spent a couple of hours in this and it didn't quite one-shot my application, right? I gave it all of the documentation of not only OpenRouter, but also Arcade to give it tools, and I explained what I wanted. I'm working right now in building a bunch of Gmail-oriented apps, so I just wanted to give it a single toolkit. Basically, I wanted to build a React-style agent without using any framework, just OpenRouter, and it went ahead and did it, right? So I had to fix the implementation in Cursor to make it functional, but it got me maybe 90% of the way there. So that is already quite impressive. So just so you know, this is the code, and the piece of magic that is happening here is right here, right? So I define Moonshot AI, Kimi K2 Thinking, and I'm using OpenRouter to do that, right? The agentic piece is very simple. I call an LLM, and I pass all of the Gmail tools from Arcade as the tools, and I use the OpenRouter chat completions API, right? We can do fancier things. We can do streaming, all of that. But this is what actually Kimi K2 chose to do. So let's go ahead and run it. For this demo, I wanted to remove my own access to Gmail, and let me show you how this works. So I'm going to say, please summarize my latest 3 emails. Right. First of all, the UI, I'm not a super fan of this UI. It's fairly clean. It's fairly, nice. But for example, it overuses these model things. I prefer this to be inline. I kind of gave this feedback to Kimi K2, but it didn't quite want to use inline components for these authorization blobs. So yeah, I authorize, and this is managed by Arcade. We authorize, allow, and then I go back here. So we should see, yeah, I connected my Gmail account to Arcade. It will say, yeah, authorization window open, try request, retry request. So this is some button as well that I kind of went back and forth with Kimi K2 to put this entire flow, the entire retry flow of the authorization. I wanted to be automatic, but it wanted to add another endpoint to the chat. I just wanted this to be handled like from the UI perspective, and then just send an event or something to the chat endpoint. It ended up breaking the app, so I just rolled back the thing and I used this button that says retry request, right? So this is actually now going ahead and calling the function, which is going to be in this case Gmail list emails. Something that I also find is that, for example, I say here, please summarize my latest 3 emails, and it's gonna send a number of emails 10 to the list emails, which is a little bit overkill. Like, why not just get the latest 3 emails, right? And this is something that I don't normally find this problem with something like GPT-5 or Sonnet 4.5. So Kimi K2, they claim to be very good at tools, but in my experience, there are like, a little bit of rough edges when it comes to it, at least when you use it on OpenRouter, right? I don't know if there is another inference provider that runs this better, but I don't think it has to do with the actual inference provider, but rather the model itself. If I'm evaluating this, I will say this, you pick the wrong parameter. So just keep that in mind. As well, this I would expect model that is used to coding, and especially coding like chatbots and so on, to present this in a pre-formatted, like a coding, show me the JSON structure or something like that, not just text. Also this, right? I expected maybe Markdown or something like that. And there are other models that do it. Namely, GPT-5 is quite good at UI, in my opinion. To my taste, they will normally choose better looking chat interface as well as better components for the chat interface, right? So all in all, I'm not impressed with Kimi K2 for my usual workflow, but let me know what you think. I mean, clearly they are breaking some benchmarks, and I'm here looking at the benchmarks that they themselves provide. But for example, artificial analysis also puts them very, very high. Like, it's the second in intelligence for after GPT-5. And let's see. Well, it's not the fastest. Yeah, Agentic tool use, it's like just crashing this benchmark. But in my experience, like, I normally don't have problems of the wrong parameters being sent to something like list emails from Anthropic or an OpenAI model. Please let me know what you think. If you like videos like this, where I try the new models, where I try new tools, please like and subscribe to our channel. And until the next time, guys, happy building.